Hello and welcome to this FPL Captain Matrix video with me, Holly Shand. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create a Captain Matrix for FPL and why it might be useful to plan ahead your captaincy for the early weeks of the season. If you are new around here, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't joined the mini league yet, get yourself involved in that as well. There's a lot of managers in there, so it should be good fun. Let's get into it. A Captain Matrix then is essentially a table converted from a list of teams and players to target for captaincy over the opening game weeks of the season. Now in this video, I'm going to create a Captain Matrix going up to game week 8, which will be a popular time for managers to wildcard. Certainly most managers will have wildcarded by that point, and if you are stuck on wildcard strategy, check out this video from earlier in pre-season. So we need to plan ahead. Things can change though, but it's important to have at least 2 options per game week who you think could be a good captaincy contender, and it will help you to decide which premium players to start the season with. Now, there's a few tools that we can use. We can use the fixture difficulty ratings on the FPL website to give us a rough target. I also like to use the points prediction tool over on Fantasy Football Hub, which you can toggle for the predicted highest point scorers each game week. And if you are new to Fantasy Football Hub, check out the link in the description below to get 50% off your membership and win your mini league or your money back. So if we look first of all through the Fantasy Football Hub points prediction tool for game week 1, top of the list we've got 2 Spurs players, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane, for their home fixture against Southampton, which is one of the most attractive fixtures in the game week 1 fixture ticker. Then we have our Liverpool assets coming in next with an away trip to Fulham. Mo Salah obviously in there is a really good option, and we need to be thinking of these premium players to pick for captaincy because they are the ones who are going to yield the highest fantasy points in theory. And it's about spreading your bets and making informed decisions. Having a look at the wider fixture difficulty rating then for game week 1, another fixture that jumps out is Leicester at home to Brentford, and Jamie Vardy and James Maddison could be plausible options in there as well. Looking further ahead to game week 2, and if we look at the points prediction tool on Fantasy Football Hub, first of all, it is a Man City shut out there for their home game against Bournemouth. Obviously picking the best team in the Premier League, playing in a home game against a promoted team, that is going to be a really good bet for captaincy. So whether you start the season with Haaland or De Bruyne, or maybe you start with a Spurs player for game week 1 in Son or Kane and then switch to De Bruyne or Haaland in game week 2, that could be a strategy that works really well because they're all very credible captaincy contenders. Looking at the wider fixture ticker for game week 2 then, I think Liverpool's home game against Crystal Palace could also be a good one to target, and West Ham away to Nottingham Forest. If you go with Jared Bowen at the start of the season, he could be a very good option as well. Looking at the wider fixture ticker then, and we've got a lot of options on the table for game week 3. I think the fixture that stands out the most is Leicester at home to Southampton, if you do pick Vardy or Maddison at the start of the season. But we've also got Spurs at home to Wolves and Man City away at Leeds United. Very good fixtures, and do not overlook Mo Salah either. Away at Manchester United, you maybe immediately put off that fixture, but remember how well Salah performed in both fixtures against Manchester United last season, easily managing double digits. He shouldn't be overlooked. Again in game week 4, we've got a lot of options on the table once again. 2 premium teams with premium players with fixtures against promoted teams in Liverpool at home to Bournemouth and Spurs away at Nottingham Forest. Depending on how those 2 promoted sides start the season, that may help to make our decision on which players to captain. We've also got Manchester United travelling to Southampton, which could be a good fixture for them. And don't forget about Arsenal either at home to Fulham. Gabriel Jesus, currently the most owned player in the game. Could he be a captaincy contender by that point? If he hits the ground running and he's on penalties as well, we could be tempted to go with him as an option. Now, game week 5, this is the big one. We've got Manchester City at home to Nottingham Forest, the best team in the Premier League last season, against the 3rd place playoff winner of the Championship. That's going to be a very interesting fixture indeed, and it's going to be one of those weeks where you kind of need to own a Manchester City player. So if you do go maybe with Salah and Spurs for the first 4 game weeks, it's certainly time to at least bring one big hitting City attacker in for game week 5, and maybe even the double up could be on for that fixture. Elsewhere, Liverpool are at home to Newcastle United, Chelsea away at Southampton as well, so a few fixture swings there to look at. So maybe we could potentially in there consider going with Raheem Sterling if he's settled into Chelsea life. Game week 6, again, it's the usual suspects here. We've got Spurs at home to Fulham, probably the standout there. We've also got Liverpool away at Everton and Manchester City away at Aston Villa as the other key contenders in there as well. Game week 7, Liverpool at home to Wolves, Arsenal at home to Everton and Chelsea away at Fulham. Some interesting fixtures to consider in there for game week 7. Obviously, the difficulty this week is that Manchester City are at home to Spurs, which leaves our usual suspects of Kane, Son, Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne out of the picture. And things don't get much better in game week 8 as well. I've not got the fixture graphic there for you, but we're kind of looking outside the box a little bit here. We've got Manchester United at home to Leeds, Man City away at Wolves and Arsenal away at Brentford to consider for game week 8. And probably by then you'll have played your wild card and you'll be making a new captaincy matrix all the way up to the World Cup break in game week 16. Here is the captain matrix that I've made then, and I've focused on 3 clubs in there, Liverpool, Spurs and Manchester City, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to start the season with at least 2 assets from these 2 clubs, possibly 3, and the ones that are on my radar are obviously Salah, Kane and Son, De Bruyne and Haaland. Game week 1, I think it's important to have Salah and a Spurs attacker. The potential to switch to a Man City attacker, as I've discussed in game week 2, is on, because personally, I know the Hub prediction tool recommended the Spurs attackers game week 1. I'm going to struggle to bet against Salah game week 1 away at Fulham though, given his record for game week 1. He's scored every single game week 1 for Liverpool and does particularly well against the promoted teams. But game week 2, Haaland and De Bruyne are going to be so tempting, especially if Haaland's ownership is over 50% still. I'm going to be frightened not to have him in my team. The FOMO is real. Game week 3, lots of options on the table as we've discussed already, but I could probably go Salah away at Manchester United, to be fair. Game week 4, I think Salah at home to Bournemouth will be the pick of the bunch, but then game week 5, Haaland at home to Nottingham Forest is going to be the one to pick. Game week 6, I think Spurs at home to Fulham is the one, but if you've avoided Spurs and you've not got a wild card, not wanting to wild card yet, I think Salah away to Everton could be one to watch. But again, we'll have a bit more of an idea of the key trends by game week 6 to know which are the top performing teams and top performing players. So this could change by the time we get this far through the captain matrix, but you can kind of stick with Salah for the opening 7 game weeks. Then you've got him for Wolves at home, and then game week 8 a little bit trickier, as I mentioned. So right now this is helping me to decide that Mo Salah is an absolute lock in my squad for game week 1. Then the big decision is, do I go with Spurs attacker, a City attacker, or both? If I went Spurs, I would be moving to a City attacker for game week 2. I think, that's going to be a really key move. But if I do go with 2 premiums rather than 3, I don't like booking in a transfer for game week 1 to game week 2. So I'd probably just start the season with De Bruyne or Haaland. De Bruyne is the one I prefer, but Haaland's ownership may force my hand to go elsewhere. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And do check out that link in the description to the Fantasy Football Hub memberships. 50% off and win your mini league or your money back. A fantastic offer from them pre-season. Do check out all of the other content on the channel, particularly that wildcard strategy video that interlinks quite nicely with this one for the season ahead. And all that's left for me to say is bye for now.